I stand here with Jay from Palmer, Massachusetts, who has a concern that's very imminent and very personal. You want to tell me what's going on in your life right now, Jay?
Sure. I bought some land 7 or 8 years ago, and I've never paid the property tax. In fact, the town's never actually sent me, the living, breathing man, a bill. They send a bill to a name in all capital letters, last name first, first name last, which is a state-created title entity. So, anyways, the town has brought this to land court, and they basically ignored all the paperwork I've sent them. I've demanded the contract that required me to pay the taxes. I've demanded due process, demanded the jurisdiction, told them they didn't have jurisdiction. You know, a lot of the stuff that anybody in a freedom movement does.
What'll happen to Jay Noone today if he decides he doesn't want to be evicted?
Well, we'll have to wait and see, won't we?
No, there's an answer to that question.
There's an answer to it? Well, I'm not going to give it.
And, under the Clearfield doctrine, any government entity that accepts paper money, such as Federal Reserve notes, or debt securities such as checks, money orders, things like that, are mere government corporations. Are mere corporations, and they are treated like a private corporation. And in this Clearfield doctrine, it states that they must prove the contract. If they go to court, prove as a contract. So just search on Start Page is what I tell everyone to use, but Google or whatever, Clearfield doctrine, and you'll come up with it.
Well, my experience is government doesn't care very much about any of that paperwork, but they seem to care a great deal about the numbers of people you can turn out when they try to evict you, or the amount of publicity that you can get. How much are you focused on the paperwork hoops, and how much are you focused on drawing attention to your situation?
Well, I've been tremendously focused on the paperwork the past couple of years. I've got stacks of paperwork, probably a foot thick, that I've sent to these guys, received. Actually, I've never really received any response to my paperwork.
Are you sure that's a useful use of time to go through the paperwork motions?
I got real good at word processing. I learned a lot. I would probably be better off growing pumpkins and gourds and cucumbers and things like that. I'm trying to exhaust the remedies from step number 1 to retain my private property. Going back to land court, when land court in Massachusetts issues a judgment, there's no signature on it. There was an eviction hearing 3 weeks ago, June 9th, in Palmer District Court, and I stated to the court and to the audience that there is no evidence. This judgment from land court has no signature. I went to the Registry of Deeds in Hampden County, and the girl at the Registry of Deeds pulled up all these land court cases on the computer, and we looked at about 100 of them. Not one of them signed. There's a line for a signature. There is no signature. There is no human signature on these things. It's
and it's
all
supposed to have a judge's signature?
Well, a judgment, I would assume, have to have a judge's signature.
Mm-hmm. And so what are you doing? There's supposed to be what are you planning on doing when the authorities get there?
Well, I'm hoping to have a lot of people there. I've been passing out flyers around here. I just found out about this Friday. I got up here Thursday. There was a notice put on my door Friday morning that they said they're basically going to show up to my house, remove all my stuff, and things like that. I'm going to ask them if they're going to do violence to me. I'm going to tell them that they're all in violation of their sworn oath of office. Then I'm going to take each one of their oaths of offices. I'm going to get it through a Freedom of Information Act. And I think what I may have to do if they violate their oath of office is sue them all for breach of contract. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do. I've never had them show up at my door to throw me out of my place yet. At the very least, it'll be an excellent learning experience. If they do cuff me and remove me and proceed to lock up my house and put a restraining order or whatever, no trespass order on me, then what I'm going to do is I set up some trustee appointees, which is a whole other thing. I did a trustee appointment to the trust name in all capital letters, which anybody could look on their tax bill. It's right there. Last name first, first name last, middle initial. And I appointed, actually, the Chief Justice of the Massachusetts District Court System, Linda M. Conley, and John G. Walsh, who was a comptroller of the currency. People should take the name John G. Walsh, put it in a search, and learn about that guy, learn about what his job is. And I appointed them as trustees to the trust. I resigned as a trustee to the trust because they automatically set you up as a trustee, but nobody tells you that.
My experience has been from just watching this whole, there's different ways of resisting the government, or some people don't even use the word resisting, but the all caps issue, I've seen it brought up in court, and I've seen other people do it, and of course the authorities are going to fight you no matter what you do, it seems like, but the average person seems to not respond very well to the argument that you're a different person from the all caps. How do you worry that people are going to think that that's nutty, or?
Well, it was a couple thousand years ago, the average person thought the world was flat. The average person, just the word person, a person is a fictitious creature. Article 4 of the United States Constitution says all people shall be secured in their possessions, persons. Mm-hmm. Well, when you said person in the 1800s, you meant somebody's slave. And that's what it was commonly known as. A person is
3/5 of all persons living. Yeah, I remember the line. Yeah,
sure. And then, but if you look at Bouvier's dictionary from like the 1800s, and then you take these words, and there's a whole thing where Merriam-Webster and what they basically molested the whole English language over since basically the Civil War till now. All these words have been changed. But I'm not dealing with a government. I'm dealing with a governmental. AL on the end of it, similar to what I'm dealing with is a corporation. The town of Palmer is a 501c nonprofit corporation. They have an employee identification number. They have a tax identification number. Only corporations have that stuff. And then they have a subsidiary or a sister corporation that they work with that's called Land Court. They have another sister corporation that they work with called Palmer District Court. All these incorporations basically exist under the Secretary of State. So they're basically all there coercing with one another to do what they're doing. And that's the way I understand it. And a lot of people do think that's crazy, but most of the people that think this stuff is crazy, they haven't got their ox scored. They've been dumbed down by public schools their whole life. If you guys listen to the schoolsucks.com podcast, that guy does a fabulous job of really breaking it down, especially the first couple he did. So search him, schoolsucks.com, and you can, listen to all that stuff. But my intent is to get a lot of cameras down there to my house on Tuesday. A lot of people. I'd like them to be surprised. I'd almost like it so they can't even drive their car down the road. I'm basically at the end of an almost dead-end road. Across the street, there's a river and plenty of places to park. But there's no contract. I have never contracted with them. When I bought the house, this was my intent to never pay the tax rate from the beginning. So I actually got all the documents I was going to sign for buying the house over a week before we did the thing, and basically just put together a team of people to really just go through them and make sure I wasn't signing myself up for anything. Okay. And there was a handful of documents that I refused to sign. And the lawyer says, "Oh, you got to sign them," and the other guy says, "Hey, if you tell him that he has to sign these, and the guy was selling me the house, or you're not going to sell him the house, I'm not paying you for all the work you've done." And you start talking money to these bar maggots, as they should be properly referred to. Then he was like, "I'm not worried about it," and it went through.
Okay.
So, but there's no contract, and even in that paperwork, it was a lot of vague stuff, so that's why I didn't sign it.
Right.
And the biggest thing, the judgment's not signed. But Land Court's not even a legitimate court. It's just another municipal corporation. In fact, you want to have fun, take your favorite court, your favorite town, take your judge's name, your mayor's name, the town manager's name, type it into Dun & Bradstreet, and you'll find out that town, the judge's name, the court, whatever, the school district, the water district, they're traded municipal corporations. They give you the abbreviation of what they're traded as. For Dun & Bradstreet, you can spend $25 and buy the whole portfolio and learn all about the corporation, who owns it, who's bought it, who's sold it, what their dividend payouts are, what their income is.
Only we could buy the city government for that amount.
Oh, well, the city government's been bought already.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's been bought by the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, the Morgans, who I refer to as the international banksters. Henry Ford warned us about them in a book called The International Jew. Try to find that in print. You won't, unless somebody's got it.
No,
So
I don't blame Jewish folks for this, but I blame the banks for a lot of it.
well, and if you read Henry Ford's book, you'll see he doesn't blame Jewish folks for it, and he's not anti-Semitic. He is against the top echelon bankers, who today would be, basically, all of Obama's buddies, all Clinton's buddies, all of Bush's buddies, Timothy Geithner, the Goldman Sachs, whoever they are, during Henry Ford's time, it was U.S. Standard Oil, it was the Bank of New York. I can't think of any more, but the big institutions back then, Chase, Morgan. There's, I don't have it in front of me to tell you, but just check it out.
All right. Well, Jay, good luck to you on Tuesday.
All right, thank you.